on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real. I'm feeling so ruthless. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made of. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up. It's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time. Nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down. It's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise. Don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Welcome to our music festival, Mark. Welcome to our music festival,
Anytime you can have a product that can truly change someone's life, I think that's an incredibly powerful product. I can't tell you how long we put into research and development for this. Most liquid carnitine is around 1,500 milligrams. We have a 2,000 milligram blend of 4 different types of liquid carnitine. We also have GBB, so you're actually going to be burning fat after you consume this product. This is going to make you sweat. This is going to make you not want to stop. You are going to perform like you've never performed before, and I can promise you that.
The road to the Core Premier Series Championship begins tonight. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the Five Flags Speedway with the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars here on iRacing.com for the first race of the first round of the Core Racing Premier Series playoffs. Happy to have you with us along for the ride here on Racecraft TV. My name is Joshua Lee. I'm joined by my colleague Jordan Hicks. And Jordan, coming into tonight, we have 12 hopeful drivers looking to be a part of that top 8 to make it into round number 2 at the end of these first 3 races.
You know, definitely, this is the first race of the playoffs, like we mentioned before, and, you know, I'm hoping for it to lead to some nice racing here tonight.
And there is 12 playoff drivers, 11 of whom are signed up for tonight's race, who will take to the virtual Five Flags Speedway for the first race of the playoffs. Now, as well, with the playoff standings, we'll have something called the wild card standings. Whoever earns the most points by the end of the first 2 rounds of the playoffs will be the 5th and final driver to take the green flag for the championship race and compete with the 4 drivers who have fought their way through the playoffs to be in the finale. So even if a driver is eliminated from round 1 or didn't make the playoffs altogether, they have an opportunity to be in the running for the championship, Jordan. They just need to have 6 incredible races and come out on top when it comes to points.
You know, definitely just hopefully they can have a nice solid night, especially here, and curious to see what they can do.
And qualifying just about to wrap up, and then we will be underway with the race here tonight from the virtual Five Flags Speedway. Of course, very well-known track in real life and in iRacing. We'll get to our iRacing track facts here when the field is rolling off for their pace laps, but grabbing a look right now at qualifying, the top 5 all filled with playoff drivers. Then it's a smattering of the wild card drivers and the playoff drivers down from there. The only playoff driver not to take a time yet is Eric Andrews in the 9. Very curious as to why he has not taken to the track for his qualifying lap. But in the meantime, we'll take a look at the schedule of where we'll be as we lead through the playoffs here in the Core Racing Premier Series. Next week, we go road racing for 3 races in a row. The Pro Mazdas at Canadian Tire, the GT3 cars at the Daytona Road Course, and the Daytona Prototypes at Mount Panorama. Now, Mount Panorama and the Daytona Prototypes will begin the second round of the playoffs. We'll cut the bottom 4 from the playoff point standings at the end of the race at Daytona, and then the top 8 will go racing through playoffs round 2, ending with the super late models at North Wilkesboro and the 410 sprint cars at Eldora to make the top 4 of that round into the final round, with the race details still to be determined and announced here on Racecraft TV. But it's going to be roughly a bit of an unknown, Jordan, as we go into these next couple of rounds, because we've only gone road racing a handful of times this season. Now they have 3 in a row and in the playoffs.
You know, definitely they got to get really used to it, and so they can just keep up that endurance of actually being solid at it. So once we get there, I'm interested to see how they're going to take it, and crazy to think that we have 3 of them in a row.
And those 3 lead into 2 incredibly difficult race tracks and race combos as well, with the super late models at North Wilkesboro. We've been to North Wilkesboro in the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series. Haven't been there in the Premier Series yet. Always provides a challenge. And then we have the 410 sprint cars at Eldora. I can't think of a better combo than 410 sprint cars at Eldora. And a lot of the dirt specialists that we had a couple of rounds ago when we put the dirt big block modifieds at USA and the UMP modifieds at the dirt track at Charlotte, might maybe see some of those dirt specialists come out and have an opportunity to lock themselves into the next round of the playoffs. But tonight, 1 driver, if a playoff driver wins, will lock themselves into the next round. If no playoff drivers win, they'll have to go into the next round hoping to get locked in, or just try and walk away with a good points day. Time to take a look at your starting grid for tonight's race from the virtual Five Flags Speedway. And we'll grab a look at where these drivers will be starting tonight's race. Nick Nickerson going to start on pole to 17.397. Adam Jones to his outside. 2 playoff drivers on the front row and row 2 with Kevin Foster and Carl Handwerk. Mason Smith, Terry Condas share row 3. Row 4 is Tim Thompson and Bennett Allen. Then you go back to your next playoff driver of Matt Crockett, sitting there in 9th on the inside of row 5 with Patrick Cooney to his outside in 10th. Mark Thomas, Derek Sherman going to share row 6. Mark Thomas competing for a championship in the playoffs. Then we have Chris Hamilton, another playoff driver making his return to the Premier Series. Dan Heisey, David Castelli, Wesley Fuller, John Crane, Jimmy Covert, Paul Butler, Dave Lohr, and Eric Andrews. Andrews, Butler, and Covert, your bottom 3 playoff drivers, already not off to the best of starts here in today's race from Five Flags. But as you can see, the playoff drivers will be denoted by a dark red highlight behind their name on all of our overlays. And by taking a look on the lower thirds, you'll be able to see that it says playoffs or wild card, where their club or team name normally would be. Grab a look at our Racecraft TV, sorry, iRacing track facts.
All right, just
for the
remind
Five Flags
everybody,
Speedway,
rewind as
opened
soon
in
as we get going here.
1953, located in Pensacola, Florida. And the fastest time actually set by iRacer Ty Majeski, known as the iRacer with the highest I rating of all time, competes in the super late models. He has the fastest time here at about a 16.1. And this half-mile short track, known for its banking and its high speeds. This is an incredibly difficult track to master, and an incredibly fast one at that. Now, every week here in the Core Racing Premier Series, they go 3 wide to salute all of you wonderful fans watching on Racecraft TV. They're doing it once again. Give salute to your Core Racing Premier Series drivers as they get ready to go racing here at Five Flags. And now it's time to go racing from the virtual Five Flags Speedway. Pace car going to pull down into the safety of pit lane. Nick Nickerson in the 2 leads the field to green. We're underway. First race of the playoffs. A pile-up in turn 4 leads to the first caution flag of the night. Looks like Bennett Allen in the 24 involved in this one. Having a look at our Racecraft TV replay. See exactly what happened here too. The number 24 got loose heading down into turn 3 behind the 32. He got sent right on around. It looked like, though, Jordan, just him involved in this one. I thought I saw more cars involved than I did, but I think it was just the plumes of smoke coming from the back end of the 24 right there. The 05 barely misses. Everybody scatters. Maybe some contact with the 24 down on the inside, but other than that, nobody seems to be getting a lot of damage here.
You know, definitely not a start that Bennett Allen and the 24 wanted, but you can see he's going to go into pit lane early, and you can see the 2 car getting off to a great start up in P1. Followed behind him is the 46 of Adam Jones. And Nickerson going into pit, followed by the 8 of Kevin Foster. Actually, my bad. I just completely got sidetracked to what just happened.
You there. They tricked everybody. Thought they were going to go down into the pit lane, pulled right out at the last moment. Nobody seemed to be falling for the trick on the racetrack, however, as everybody still stays out on the racetrack. Nobody from your lead cars coming down into the pit lane. Derek Sherman, Eric Andrews, the only playoff driver to make a pit stop there under this caution. Sherman, Fuller, Allen, and Castelli for wildcard drivers coming into the pit lane. But other than that, everybody else staying out on the racetrack here in the first yellow flag of the evening. We're going to have a short break here on Racecraft TV, but don't go anywhere. Green flag action when we return for the virtual Five Flag Speedway. Actually, we will not be heading to break as the lights go out on the iRacing Pace car. We'll be staying right here as the field goes back to green, and we'll see if we make it more than a single lap or two under the green flag this time. But the iRacing Pace car going to make its way into the pit lane, and we'll set these drivers loose once again. Nick Nickerson, Adam Jones, Kevin Foster, Carl Handwerk, Mason Smith, your top five. 5 playoff drivers as well as we go back racing. Single file restart leading to a bit of more spread out cars on the racetrack. As Nickerson in the 2 tries to pull away. Nothing from Adam Jones out back. The 32 with Terry Condas. A great move for them. They're up into P6 as we begin the first green flag cycle of this race. A bit of a tangle back here. Matt Crockett leads this group, and further back it's Patrick Cooney. Here comes Mark Thomas, playoff driver in the 50 to the inside, looking for the spot on Patrick Cooney. So was Chris Hamilton, another playoff driver. He moves his way now up into P10. Mark Thomas into P9. Back up front, nobody able to get up to Nick Nickerson up front yet. Still Adam Jones in second. Here comes Carl Handwerk, looking to the inside of Kevin Foster as Foster gets loose on the outside. Gonna give that spot away to the 18 of Carl Handwerk. Up into third now goes the 18 car.
And you know, just looking at the lap ticker, these laps are going down so quick. It's already on a lap 11 out of 125, so you know, Josh, not a lot of time, obviously a lot of time from now, but further on the race, it's going to be interesting to see how people make some moves throughout this race, as those laps do not last long.
125 laps on the docket for tonight, so it looks like a lot, but once they get grooving here at the Five Flag Speedway, it is only a half mile incredibly quickly. Lap times are around 17.5 seconds, and qualifying around 17.2, 17.3 average. So they do get to ticking those laps down incredibly quickly. As everybody gets stuck in, these playoff drivers especially trying to move their way through the field. Chris Hamilton trying to find a way around Mark Thomas up in front, looking for P9. Up to the outside goes Chris Hamilton. The outside line doesn't look like it has a lot yet. We'll see if it starts to work its way in, but as we're on board with Chris Hamilton, doesn't look like he's able to do anything here on the outside line. But look to the outside once again. Bit of contact up the road with the 05 at Tim Thompson, slamming the wall up in front in that Hardee's Valvoline Chevy Camaro. Back to the inside goes Hamilton, right behind Mark Thomas. He's able to get by the 05, so that'll move him up into P9. Now looking for P8 on Mark Thomas in the 50. Another playoff driver in front of this group. That's Matt Crockett in the 10. To
Hamilton's
the inside
running.
now goes Chris Hamilton on the 50.
And he gets the pass on the 50 of Mark Thomas out of turn number 4, I believe. And he gets the pass up into 8th position, so a nice little pass there for Chris Hamilton in the 64.
Now looking to catch up to Matt Crockett up in front, and will he be able to leave Mark Thomas in the dust? Looks like he is able to keep that gap ahead of him. For the back, a battle between a playoff driver and a wild card driver. Dan Heisey on the outside, Paul Butler on the inside as they go side by side. Back into turn 3, Paul Butler in the 68 can complete that move. He's now up into 13th. Huge wreck up in front. Mark Thomas involved. Caution is out.
Definitely not what the 68 wanted, as we saw him catch a little bit of contact from the 50. But interested to see as we go back to replay. So there's the 50 of Mark Thomas exiting turn 4. And he completely gets sideways and into the inner wall. And a whole bunch of contact right there. Not at all what the 50 wanted.
Covert made contact. Butler made contact. The 50 just lost it coming off of turn 4. And what's unfortunate about that, with Covert and Butler hitting him, 2 playoff drivers involved. So 3 total playoff drivers involved in the second incident of the night to bring out the caution flag. And as we are under caution for the second time tonight, we'll grab a quick break here on Racecraft TV, but don't go anywhere. Green flag action for the first race of the playoffs for the Core Racing Premier Series is coming up.
We needed more.
More from our bodies.
More from our minds.
So we went on a mission.
To study the top level of performance across every competitive playing field.
To find what fuels the highest level of athletes, businessmen, and gamers.
Through intense trials across every competitive landscape, we found that there were 5 undeniable principles that help your body operate at the highest level of peak performance all the time.
Focus. The ability to visualize and execute with precision. Focus is the single most important component when it comes to performance.
We combined multiple choline sources, including alpha GPC, choline bitartrate, along with L-tyrosine to help boost mental performance.
Recovery.
We need to take you from 5% to 100% as fast as possible. Bounce back with nourishing BCAAs.
For body and mind. Energy.
Fuel to get the job done. Answer the bell with confidence that you'll be able to attack energy and intensity.
We mix a blend of instant and sustained release caffeine to light a fire with
300 milligrams of GO.
stamina.
The willpower to see it to the end.
But true stamina is coming back day after month after year. We incorporated L-carnitine to deliver energy on a cellular level, with betaine anhydrous and taurine augmenting those effects.
Hydration. Sports science was built on hydration, and it's no secret why.
That's why we added a blend of electrolytes to help sustain performance. We tried all of the other energy drinks. It meant you stay awake, but not much else. We combined all 5 pillars of performance into one single form.
Focus.
Recovery.
Energy
Stamina.
and hydration. We call it Refresh Technology.
And it delivers more.
Welcome back to the virtual Five Flags Speedway, ready to go back to racing here in the first race of the playoffs for the Core Racing Premier Series. We're back underway here in Pensacola.
You can see Nickerson with a blazing fast restart right there. Totally drilled the 51 of Derek Sherman off the green flag. And you can see a solid run right now. Nickerson seems to be running some pretty fast lap times here tonight. Interested to see how long he keeps that up.
Battle going on further back. Kevin Foster trying to move up the order. He'll hop up into P4 as John Crane moving back on the outside. Wild card driver now to the inside goes Chris Hamilton. Playoff driver looking for more spots is the 64. Derek Sherman, he stayed out on that pit stop in the 51 as he pitted back on lap 3 during the first caution. So that wild card driver is looking to get enough points here in the first race that he can have a couple of off races and still be in the running for the 5th and final spot in the championship.
And the caution's back out, Josh.
Caution comes back out. Dan Heisey around in P4. Oh, sorry, in turn 4. See exactly what happened here for the 81. Same issue that we saw earlier on today, Jordan. Just drivers losing it in that corner. This is what brought out the first caution as well at the beginning of the night.
This track seems like it gets, especially these Xfinity cars, very loose very easily. But luckily for the 81 of Dan Heisey, he didn't make contact with the wall. He's going to drive out of it pretty fine. But, you know, it's still frustrating because any wreck or spin can ruin your night in any way, shape, or form.
So that puts us under the third caution of the night, heading on to lap number 30 here at the virtual Five Flags Speedway. Glad you all could join us here on Racecraft TV tonight for the first race of the playoffs for the Core Racing Premier Series. Tomorrow night, the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series begins its playoffs over there. If you haven't seen any of the races for the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series, you should tune into Racecraft TV on Monday nights because it is one of the most exciting series along with the Core Racing Premier Series that you can find here on Racecraft TV. We begin the playoffs tomorrow night from the virtual Pocono Raceway Then we head to Phoenix in New Hampshire, then begin the next round of the playoffs at Daytona, Atlanta, and Richmond, and finally cap it all off at the Kansas Speedway on July 12th to crown a champion. So make sure that you are tuning in over there on Racecraft TV Monday nights. You can find every round of the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series playoffs as we cap off that season. John Crane in the 199, a great night for him so far. He has gained a total of 8 spots on the night. 17.857, his fastest lap of the race. He is the biggest mover out of your drivers that aren't Derek Sherman, because Derek Sherman is up 10 spots after staying out on the racetrack. But John Crane has made up all those spots, and he has not come into the pit lane yet. He has still stayed out on the racetrack under every caution. Sherman up 10 spots on the night. Eric Andrews, your biggest mover, up 9 spots. Also, playoff driver Eric Andrews up 16 spots from where he originally started the night. Field's going to go double file once more, and we'll be heading back to racing from the virtual Five Flags Speedway. Playoff drivers in the top 6. 5 drivers in the playoffs are currently in the top 6. 1 driver in the wild card spots in the top 6. That's Derek Sherman. Looking for a good points day to get a good start to the playoffs for the wild cards position. The 5th and final spot in the championship. Nick Nickerson leading the way, looking to lock himself into the next round as we're back underway.
Once again, you can see Nickerson with a very, very solid start right there. And everyone's just trying to catch right back up to him, not let him get away with it. Turning into 3 and 4. Nickerson remains with a pretty solid gap, about 0.3 of a second. So interesting to see how long he holds that up.
And caution comes back out, and a huge pile up in turn 4. Castelli involved, the 17 of Dave Lohr, and Patrick Cooney also involved in turn 4. Oh my, a huge hit. Sue Covert had damage as well. That looks like it led to the incident. Let's see exactly what happened right before this. So they're 3 wide going into the corner. And not a lot of room. Covert comes down, sends the 001 into the wall on the outside. That just looked like a racing incident there. Jordan running out of room.
You know, definitely as the 14 seemed he was clear, and the 001 was right there. And then you get stuck in the wall, actually. So crazy how fast things can happen here tonight. But as we're cautioned at lap 37 of 125.
We'll grab a short break here on Racecraft TV. More green flag action is coming up right after this. You're watching the Core Racing Premier Series live on Racecraft TV.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
Welcome back to the virtual Five Flags Speedway. You're tuning in to the Core Racing Premier Series live on Racecraft TV. First race of round 1 of the playoffs for the season. And it is time to go back to racing. On to lap number 41, 85 laps to go here tonight. Nick Nickerson still leads your way. He'll start on the outside line, as that is where he has chosen to start on the restart. And away we go. And a huge bobble for Kevin Foster in the 8. Lots of wheel spin on the inside line. He falls to third as around goes Derek Sherman in the 51. 2 cars side by side. That's Adam Jones on the outside. Chris Hamilton inside as they make their way into the corner. And loose on the outside is Matt Crockett. Makes contact with Eric Andrews. Jimmy Covert involved as well. Cars around in turn 4. Caution is out.
And once again, caution out again. It seems to be, geez, these cars are just getting so loose, Josh, that there's no chance you can even save it. You can see the 10 car.
That was contact.
And he just keeps going around and
contact with the 32 of Condas.
It looked like he checked up a little bit.
Lots of contact with other drivers as well. He spun right in the middle of the corner. That led to contact with the 32. Sent him into the corner sideways into the 9 of Eric Andrews, playoff driver. 14 of Jimmy Covert, playoff driver. 24 Bennett Allen, he also hit, a wild card driver. Another incident happening in turn 4 as well. But back under the yellow flag and coming into the pits this time by is the 2. So making his first pit stop of the night is Nick Nickerson, along with a couple other playoff drivers. Foster came in. Handwork came in. Also coming in was Bennett Allen, wildcard driver. Kevin Foster came in. Covert came in. Dan Heisey also came in the 21. So a handful of playoff and wildcard drivers coming into the pits, but now out in front, it's wildcard driver Derek Sherman in the 51. So at the moment where we sit, the leader is a wildcard driver. Now, if you're just tuning in, this is the first round of the playoffs for the Core Racing Premier Series. And you can grab a look at your playoff standings as they enter this race, and there they are. Brandon Mettler unfortunately did not start this race, so he's already off to a bad start in the playoffs, but everybody else did start the race, and that's where they sat before we began the race tonight. And everybody else is competing for the wild card spot, which the wild card spot is for those drivers that either get eliminated from the playoffs or did not qualify for the playoffs to have an opportunity to compete for the championship. So whoever gets the most points out of the wild card drivers by the end of playoffs round 2 will earn the 5th and final spot to the championship. So it's a unique opportunity in this series, Jordan, that even if you get eliminated from the playoffs or didn't make it, you still have an opportunity to run up there with the championship contenders and have an opportunity to win the championship at the end of the season.
You know, definitely, that's where the saying comes in, where never give up, because, you know, anything can happen. And, you know, if you get disqualified, you can come right back in. So interested to see how these drivers can do it.
Sherman, Jones, Hamilton, Smith, Fuller, your top 5 as we go back to racing from the virtual Five Flag Speedway. Pace car down and away, and we're back underway from the virtual Five Flags, and a good start for Derek Sherman to get out in front, still side by side further back. This couple cars electing to go to the outside line. Still trying to work it in here at Five Flags. Hamilton going to move up into 3rd. Mason Smith, playoff driver in the 6th, up into P4. Fuller going to move into 5th. Another caution comes out. One car around. It looks like back straight away. Turn 3. Not sure exactly who it was. Looks like it involved... Still not sure exactly who it involved. Let's take a look here. 14 of Jimmy Covert. A bad night for the 14. Turns even worse. He only got like half around 2, and I believe that iRacing called that caution. So the 14 didn't even look like they were fully. They were only drifting the car. Cars scattering, but the caution comes out for that. So we're back under the yellow flag now, 5th of the night. Sherman still leads the way ahead of Jones, Hamilton, Smith, and Fuller. So we'll grab another quick break here on Racecraft TV. More green flag action when we return, because you're watching the Core Racing Premier Series live from the virtual Five Flag Speedway. Pace car pulling off. We're back underway here at the virtual Five Flag Speedway in the Core Racing Premier Series. First race of the playoffs. And we're back underway. Derek Sherman, wildcard driver, leading the way out in front. Not in the running for the playoffs yet. If he gets the most points out of the other wildcard drivers before the championship, he will have an opportunity to win the championship in the finale. But in second place, that's a playoff driver, Adam Jones. Same thing with Chris Hamilton. Further behind, Mason Smith, also a playoff driver. Pole sitter and leader for most of the early part of this race, Nick Nickerson in the 2. Starting to climb his way back up through the field as he's made his way back up into P6. But up in front, battle for the lead. Adam Jones to the inside. Gonna take the lead away from Derek Sherman.
Interested to see how the 51's gonna fight back to the 46 as they seem bumper to bumper right now. As the 64 of Hamilton seems like he's trying to get up on the bumper of the 51 as he's gonna try and go on the inside. Not enough room as the 46 of Adam Jones leads the way into 3 and 4, as following behind is the 51 of Derek Sherman.
Now is a mirror full of Chris Hamilton trying to go to the inside of Sherman. And it is difficult, Jordan. We're kind of, the way that these drivers race when it comes to playoff drivers is that we only have 11 playoff drivers in this field. The other 10 are wildcard drivers, both running for their own points. So it's not like the wildcard drivers can just move over and move out of the way for the playoff drivers, because they're racing to join the playoff drivers in the championship. So it's kind of like a catch-22 of, okay, am I going to move over or am I going to race them for points?
You know, definitely, and that's where it's like the make or break situation there. And it's always cool seeing these drivers fight hard, but once again, they got to make that decision.
Out in front, Adam Jones in the 46. Now has to worry about Chris Hamilton as he tries to move his way further into the front of the field. He won on Monday night in the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in his return, trying to go 2 for 2 since he has returned to the Core Racing League. And here comes the 2. Look at him, already up into 4th. Nick Nickerson dives it to the inside of the 51, and he's going to grab over P3, now trying to catch up to your leaders. He is a man on a mission right now, trying to get back up to the front.
And you know, Josh, we've said this many times. When you put Nickerson in any type of car, he is fast. And the caution's out, lap 63. Curious to see what happened, as it seems like Wesley Fuller.
Fuller around on the front straightaway. We'll see what happened to the number 35. If it was another self-spin or if he had some help. No, down the bottom of turn 4, a little bump down there got him loosened into the wall. Caution comes back out. Now that's a difficult situation, Jordan, because there is a bump down on that inside. A pretty large one at that, and it looks like he hit it right there. Got the car upset, and around he went.
And you know, it definitely doesn't help, because before it didn't seem like he could really steer out of it, as he's going to go into pit lane. A lot of drivers in the pit lane. So interested to see what their pit strategy here is tonight.
Adam Jones is in. Mason Smith is in. Kevin Foster, Carl Handwerk, Tim Thompson, Matt Crockett, Derek Sherman, Mark Thomas, Chris Hamilton, Dan Heisey, Wesley Fuller, John Crane, Dave Lohr. The drivers that have come into the pit lane. Sherman out first, as he came in first. Nick Nickerson, David Castelli, Jimmy Covert, Terry Kanzas, Eric Andrews, all staying out on the racetrack. And Paul Butler and Patrick Cooney also staying out, but they are a handful of laps down at the moment. So back up front, it's the 2 of Nick Nickerson. Pitted a couple of cautions ago, has moved his way right back up into first place. David Castelli, a wild card driver, sits in P2. Good night for him so far. He's moved his way up into second place in the 48. Jimmy Covert there in 3rd. He has had an up and down night, Jordan. Caught up in almost about every single wreck that we have had tonight. He's grabbed his fast repair. Car's looking brand new. And now he's up into P3. We'll see if he can stay up here, because the way that these cautions have been running, we haven't really gotten a long green flag run. So if we get a long green flag run, we'll get to see if Jimmy Covert can hang up here with these drivers out in front. But he has pitted last time around lap 43, which was a handful of laps ago.
You know, definitely a lot's going through his mind, so congratulations to him for making it back up to the top 3. As you know, it's really hard to set your mind to focus again once you've either spun or get caught in a wreck before. So props to him, as interested to see how long he's going to keep up that fight for.
Lights back out on the iRacing pace car. And we will be going back to racing. Nick Nickerson will lead the field of green. David Castelli, Jimmy Covert, Terry Condas, and Eric Andrews rounding out your top 5. Let's go on board with playoff driver and up 16 spots tonight. It's Eric Andrews as we go back to racing from the virtual Five Flag Speedway. And the caution already coming back out. Bennett Allen around on the racetrack. 3 wide once again with Bennett Allen right in the middle of it. And again, no contact, just gets loose in turn 3.
And you can see he really tried to save it there, but the cars just don't want to give it to him. As you can see, once again, that 3 wide situation. He seems to try and pull away with it, but gets loose there. And just around he goes. These cars seem like a big challenge here on this track tonight.
It looks like Bennett Allen has also retired from the race, so that was not the best end to the night for Bennett Allen, as he unfortunately will not finish this race. Still out in front, Nick Nickerson in the 2. And we'll go back to racing when we come back here on Racecraft TV. You're watching the Core Racing Premier Series live on Racecraft TV. The first round of the playoffs begins tonight, and we'll go back racing when we return.
We needed more.
More from our bodies,
More from our minds.
so we went on a mission.
To study the top level of performance across every competitive playing field.
To find what fuels the highest level of athletes, businessmen, and gamers.
Through intense trials across every competitive landscape, we found that there were 5 undeniable principles that help your body operate at the highest level of peak performance all the time.
Focus. The ability to visualize and execute with precision. Focus is the single most important component when it comes to performance.
We combined multiple choline sources, including alpha GPC, choline bitartrate, along with L-tyrosine to help boost mental performance.
Recovery.
We need to take you from 5% to 100% as fast as possible. Bounce back with nourishing BCAAs.
For body and mind. Energy.
Fuel to get the job done. Answer the bell with confidence that you'll be able to attack with energy and intensity.
We mix a blend of instant and sustained release caffeine to light a fire with
300 milligrams of GO.
stamina.
The willpower to see it to the end.
But true stamina is coming back day after month after year. We incorporated L-carnitine to deliver energy on a cellular level, with betaine anhydrous and taurine augmenting those effects.
Hydration. Sports science was built on hydration, and it's no secret why.
That's why we added a blend of electrolytes to help sustain performance. We tried all of the other energy drinks. They may help you stay awake, but not much else. We combined all 5 pillars of performance into one single form.
Focus.
Recovery.
Energy
Stamina.
and hydration. We call it Refresh Technology.
And it delivers more.
Welcome back to the virtual Five Flags Speedway. Just went back to green about 1 lap ago. Still out in front, the 2 of Nick Nickerson as they complete the first green flag lap of this run. Everybody getting stuck in now, side by side, a little bit further back between Jimmy Covert and Adam Jones. 2 playoff drivers going side by side for third into turns 3 and 4. Crossover move for Adam Jones down to the inside.
What a move for the 46 right there. Probably the move of the night right there. It's really cool to see as the caution is coming back out, as it seems like a 3-car pileup up in turns 3 and 4.
Tim Thompson involved, Bennett Allen, Patrick Cooney also involved in this one. I have to see where it started. It looks like it started up in front with Patrick Cooney. We'll see as we jump a little bit further back. Taking a look. Yes, it did. Started with the 001. Actually, it started with the 24. The 24 was right on the back bumper of the 001 of Patrick Cooney. Absolutely sent him into the corner. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the 3rd or 4th incident that the 24 has been involved in tonight. He left the game, came back in, and completely sent the 001 around heading into the corner. And you could see right on the back bumper, made no effort to try and make the corner. Just banged into the 001, tried to save it, went right up into the wall and got himself caught up in another incident, catching the 001 and the 05 in it as well. So that brings out another caution here in the Core Racing Premier Series. Still a handful of laps to go, about 46 to go here tonight. First race of the playoffs. And taking a look at the schedule for the remainder of the playoffs, we are going to go to some very interesting racetracks here in the Core Racing Premier Series. Of course, beginning with the Pro Mazdas at Canadian Tire. Next week, GT3 cars at the Daytona Road Course to finish off the first round of the playoffs. Then the Daytona Prototypes at Mount Panorama. Super late models at North Wilkesboro. 410 sprint cars at Eldora to round off playoffs round 2. And then race details to be determined for the final round of the playoffs. That'll be coming up in July. So still a lot of interesting car track combos left for the Core Racing Premier Series to finish off the season. Coming across the start-finish line here this time. Lights go out on the iRacing.com pace car. We'll return to racing this time by the two of Nick Nickerson back out in front. Adam Jones, Terry Condas, Jimmy Covert, and Chris Hamilton round out your top 5. 44 laps remaining here from the virtual Five Flags Speedway. And we'll see if we can get a green flag run going or not. It's been a carnage-filled night. We'll see if anything changes as we go back to racing.
A great start for the two of Nick Nickerson right there going into turn 1 and 2. The 46 of Adam Jones not letting him get away with it as we're going on the backstretch. And you can see everyone following behind as the 18 right there of Carl Handwerk seemed like he had to check up as he's trying to make his way up to the top.
Trying to get back up to the top as well as you're on board with the 18 heading down into the corner. And back into 3 and 4, trying to utilize the outside line, diamonding that corner back to the inside. So, sort of hitting a roadblock there, Jordan, just nowhere to go. Both lanes here at the Five Flags Speedway blocked in front of him with the 14 and the 10. He's going to make a move down to the inside on Covert, trying to get it on the 10 as well. He cannot. He will get past Jimmy Covert for 7th, but not much else.
I think he's just got to wait it out, or if he gets that open window of trying to pass either on the inside or outside, he's got to take it, but it seems to be like none of that's coming as he's trying every single lap to run on the inside line as he seems to get something on the 10 as he's on the inside.
Oh,
and the
contact! 10. The 10 of Matt Crockett gets loose coming off the corner, makes contact with the 18 of Carl Handwerk. No caution. He was able to save it, but that could have gotten ugly quick. We'll see if we can grab a replay. We can. Just looked like when they came off of the corner, Matt Crockett got loose on the outside and came right down into the 18. Now, luckily, the 18 didn't lose the car. He didn't go around. So we stay green, but up in front, it's a battle for the lead, side by side between Adam Jones and Nick Nickerson. Jones pushes the 2 to the outside. Jimmy Covert right in front, doesn't get out of the way for Adam Jones. He slams into the back end.
Not what he wanted, as I'm not too sure if he was looking in his mirror or not, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do that, Josh.
Depends. They don't, technically speaking. Since with the iRacing Sporting Code, lap cars do not need to give way. It's just a sportsmanship thing to do. Not sure about the Core Racing rules on that one, but either way, unfortunate for Adam Jones, and now I'd be worried if I was the 46 about possible radiator damage. He hit him straight on with the front end of that Ford Mustang. You can see the damage on it. If those temps start to climb, that could spell the end of the night for the 46. Cross the line this time by 34 laps to go now for the virtual Five Flags. As cars wrecking now, Matt Crockett around on the outside.
Curious to see if it was just your normal spin.
Oh my, and the 001 has to get out of the way for it. That almost could have been worse for Matt Crockett. Taking a look at the replay. Oh, and it involved Carl Handwerk as well. We'll go back a little bit further. What happened with the 10? He got loose again coming off of 4 and overcorrected to the outside. Handwerk was there and absolutely nowhere to go at that point.
I would say Handwerk sort of helped himself out through that one because the 10 car seemed to just go right around with how the hit was from the 18. You can see it again. Handwerk just keeps on going. So hopefully not much damage to both cars, but hope to see them come back out as we're on the caution once again of lap number 94 here at Five Flags.
A couple of your leaders come in, specifically the 2, the 46, the 199, the 68 is also in. Everybody else staying out on the racetrack. That'll move the 64, Chris Hamilton, up to the lead. As we'll grab another break here on Racecraft TV. Green flag action when we return for the Core Racing Premier Series first race of round 1 of the playoffs. Don't go anywhere. We go green next.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
Welcome back to the virtual Five Flags Speedway. Field back double file as we get ready to go back to racing here in the first race of the first round of the playoffs for the Core Racing Premier Series NASCAR Xfinity Series cars at the virtual Five Flags Speedway. And we are back underway on lap number 98. Good start out in front for the 64 of Chris Hamilton as he'll lead the field. Back onto the back straightaway, side by side for second place between Eric Andrews and Terry Condas. Eric Andrews, playoff driver, trying to gain spots on the inside. He's got a mirror full of the 18 of Carl Handwerk. Is now Handwerk going to move up to the outside? Handwerk also in the playoffs. Made a look to the outside. Didn't work out well for him. He'll move back into line. Crossover move. Going to try and be made coming out of turn 4, and it will be made. Handwork now to the inside of Andrews as everybody scatters behind. 3 wide further back with the 46, the 48, and the 35. They get it settled out. One car around on the inside line. It's the 68 of Paul Butler.
Interested to see if he just got loose or if there was contact made within that caution. As we're going to take a look at a replay, you can see the 68, and it seems like he just got loose coming out of, I'm pretty sure that was 1 and 2. Not what he wanted. As we're taking another look, you can just see the car just slips from underneath both of, like, every driver that it happens to, and there's literally nothing you can do about it.
So that puts us back under the yellow flag. We'll see if we get any pit stops here. Coming across the line this time by for 24 laps to go as we cross the lap 102 mark. Chris Hamilton leads the way. Terry Condas in second. Carl Handwerk now up into third. Eric Andrews, Mason Smith round out your top 5. Mark Thomas, Kevin Foster, Nick Nickerson driving his way back up to 8th after the pit stop on the last caution. Adam Jones, David Castelli, your top 10 currently out on the racetrack. As we sit under the yellow flag once again in the Core Racing Premier Series tonight with the Xfinity cars here at the Five Flags Speedway. Of course, heading into tonight, this is the first round of the playoffs. And that, of course, is starting out the entire championship. And there is where they currently sit before heading into this race. And we'll see after the end of this race where they will sit and who will be in the top 8 and who will sit in the bottom 4 they'd have to climb their way out of the bottom 4 in the remaining 2 races of the round. Chris Hamilton sits out in front in the 64, playoff driver, looking for the win, and the win will lock himself into the next round, so he will not have to worry about points. And as well, Jordan, coming into tonight, taking a look at those points, a handful of drivers, specifically Carl Handwerk, Nick Nickerson, Brandon Mettler, Adam Jones, Kevin Foster, and Mason Smith grabbing playoff points throughout the season from getting wins. Handwerk with 5 wins, Nickerson with 4, Mettler, Jones, Foster, and Smith all with 1. But for each of those wins, they gained 5 playoff points. Carl Handwerk getting started with 1,025 points as opposed to the reset 1,000 points. He's looking great already for the next round, and he hasn't even started the first.
You know, definitely, you can also see him creeping up to the leaders right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets it done tonight as we are about to go green flag once again. And Carl Handwerk gets a little loose off the green flag, and you can see the 64 of Christopher Hamilton with a nice restart.
Now moving around to the outside, Nickerson makes contact with Thomas. Thomas around middle of the course, caution comes out. Jimmy Covert getting into him as well. 2 playoff drivers involved. And that was such an unfortunate incident. You can see the 2 making contact there. He went up the middle trying to go 3 wide, and the door closed too quickly. Man, tough to put blame on anybody there, but you can see the 2 just trying to go up the middle. Maybe not thinking Handwerk was there. Maybe thinking the 50 would give more room. But around with the 50, makes contact with the car on the inside. Contact with Crockett. Contact with Covert. Contact with a handful of playoff drivers there. And that is going to spell the end of Mark Thomas's night unless he has a fast repair that he can use coming down into the pit lane. But if he doesn't, that is most definitely going to spell the end of his night. So we're back under the yellow flag. Coming across the line this time by will be some odd about 27 laps to go. Sorry, 17 laps to go. 125, the scheduled distance here tonight, obviously, pending if we get a green-white checker or go into overtime. And a handful of cautions here tonight. Believe the longest green flag stretch we've had was about 15 to 20 laps. So not a lot of time for these drivers to really open up these cars here tonight or really see who has the best long-run car, Jordan. It's really been about who is able to gain as many positions in the least amount of time as possible and who can survive these wrecks. That's pretty much how Chris Hamilton and Terry Condas ended up top 2.
You know, I was just about to say, they also got to worry about their reactions because, you know, anything can happen, as all I can say is that top 3 has avoided so many wrecks here tonight. I've forgot about what caution we're on, Josh. I'm pretty sure this is over 10, so props to them for keeping their cars nice and clean. The 9, not too much of a clean car, but making his way into the top 3 as we are close to going green flag racing once again here at Five Flags.
Lights out on the iRacing pace car, which means we'll be going back to racing this time by Chris Hamilton, Terry Condas, Eric Andrews, Carl Handwerk, Kevin Foster, your top 5. Single file restarts now as well after the amount of incidents that we have had. 15 to go, 14 to go when they cross the start-finish line. On board with Eric Andrews as we go back to racing. Andrews trying to get around the 32 in front of Terry Condas. Condas eligible for the wild card. the 5th and final spot of the championship. Needs a good point stay here if he wants to get an early start there. Carl Handwerk looking to lock himself into the next round of the playoffs. Currently sitting in 4th, looking for 3rd as he goes down the inside of Eric Andrews.
You see he's got a whole lot of pressure right there as he's running that inside line. Seems to be getting it done. And the 9 not giving up that position to him yet, as they are side by side right now as the 8 team seems to pull away with P3.
Handwerk running down on the inside line, trying desperately to get back up to the front. He has about 1.7 seconds now, separating himself and the leader, Chris Hamilton. 10 to go now as they come across the line for the 64 of Chris Hamilton, looking to lock himself into the next round of the playoffs. Everybody now further back, fighting for positions. Eric Andrews falling like a lead balloon, already down to P6. Fighting for all he can in the number 9. Castelli right behind, looking for more spots. Now we'll go back to the battle between Handwerk and a huge mirror full of Kevin Foster in the 8, Adam Jones in the 46 there as well. Even though these drivers are a good ways away from grabbing the win, but if Handwerk can get around the 32, he might have a better opportunity. To the inside he goes. They're still competing for points in the playoffs, so hopefully ease their way in on points into round number 2. But to the inside now goes Carl Handwerk, looking for the spot on the 32 to go chase down Chris Hamilton, and he gets it. 3 wide further back, though, for P3 as the 32 goes all the way to the outside. Foster on the inside looking for the spot. Adam Jones now on the inside of the 8, fighting for P3. Down to the inside they go. Condas fighting in 5th place, trying to join these two. Still side by side for 3rd between Foster and Jones as Handwerk goes up from P2, trying to catch your leader.
You know, Handwerk's got to make up a whole 1.7 seconds on the Christopher Hamilton in the 64, so interested to see how he's going to get it done. And you can see the 8 running the high line on the 46. It seems like Foster's getting it done here in front of the 46, but, you know, Adam Jones not letting him get away with it.
Jones still running great on that inside, fighting for 3rd place. Foster finally closes the door in the 8 right in front. He will take over that 3rd spot. Out in front with 4 to go, it's Chris Hamilton in a league of his own right now. Can Handwerk catch him? 1.5 seconds is the gap for the lead. Can he get to him? 1.5 seconds is the gap. Will he be able to get to him? 1.6 seconds now. Handwerk falling back slightly. Hamilton comes across the line this time by 2 laps to go. He took a couple of weeks off. Of course, he does real-life short track racing as well. He had to focus on that for a couple of weeks. But as he takes the white flag here at the Virtual 5 Flag Speedway, the yellow flag comes out right before he takes it. It's another Martinsville Vintage Cup Series situation as Condas wrecks, and we go back under the yellow flag. We're going into overtime. Jordan, it's the same situation we saw in Martinsville, where the yellow flag comes out just right before the white flag is registered, meaning we're going to rack them up again for overtime. This is the opposite of what Chris Hamilton wanted to see. He thought he was home free. Now we're going to have another restart.
You know, I want to see a replay on how fast that yellow flag came out before the lap counter went to 1 to go, because that was really, really quick. I didn't even notice it. I thought Hamilton had it in the bag, but like you said, Josh, this is not what he wanted, as we are on board with him. And curious to see, you can see the white flag out.
You can see that green light right in front. It should turn to yellow when the yellow flag comes out.
And there it is.
He was already going into turn number 1. So it looks like just something that neither race control nor Hamilton could control. Just iRacing calling the white before the yellow. Just not maybe not fully registering the white flag and calling the yellow flag. It's a weird thing where the yellow's called so close to when the white flag is called. I think just the yellow flag might just take over from the white flag. Now, usually, like if the white flag would have come out and then the wreck would have happened when the leader, Chris Hamilton, was on the back straightaway, we would not have a yellow flag at all. We'd race back to the checker. But because it was so close, he was diving into one, just crossing the start-finish line, it calls the caution. We saw it also at Martinsville in the Core Vintage Cup Series. So it's kind of weird to see it happen twice. It's like one of those things where if I had a nickel for every time it happened this season, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice in 2 different series as well, 2 different racetracks. So now they'll rack them up for another restart, and we'll be heading into the first and only attempt. Sorry, first and out of 2 attempts for a green-white checker. They'll line up side by side. First attempt at the green-white checker. We'll take the green flag. If a caution comes out, we'll rack them up again for a restart once they take the white flag and make it at least a good bit on the white flag lap. And that means the race is official. And we'll race back to the checker. Green-white checkered attempt number 1. 4 playoff drivers in the top 4 fighting for a spot in round 2. Hamilton with a good start in the 64. Leaves Handwork to work side by side with Kevin Foster. Handwork going to take over P2. Now looking in front to the 64. Contact, door rubbing between the 8 and the 46 of Foster and Jones. But through turns 3 and 4, Handwork has his eyes set on the 64. White flag comes out. One more time around the virtual 5 flags. No caution this time as they work through 1 and 2. Hamilton trying to lock himself into round 2. So is Carl Handwork into the final corner, locking themselves into the next round. It's going to be Chris Hamilton grabbing the win at the virtual 5 flags. Takes time off, comes back on Monday night in the Vintage Cup Series to win at Indy, and now comes back in the Premier Series to win at the virtual 5 flags. Burning it down on the front straightaway. Race winner and locked into round 2, Chris Hamilton in the 64. And with that, we'll take a look at your full race results here from the virtual 5 flag Speedway. Grabbing the win is Chris Hamilton, and what a day it was for him to grab that win. In second place, Carl Handwork. Third place, Adam Jones. Fourth place, Kevin Foster. David Castelli, first of your wildcard drivers to finish in 5th. Paul Butler, Nick Nickerson, Eric Andrews, Derek Sherman, and Mason Smith round out your top 10. John Crane, Tim Thompson, Dave Lohr, Matt Crockett, Dan Heisey, Wesley Fuller, Jimmy Covert, Terry Condas, your top 18. Running out the final 3 positions, Patrick Cooney, Mark Thomas, and Bennett Allen in 21st. To round out all of your cars here from the virtual 5 flag Speedway, and we'll grab an interview with your winner, Chris Hamilton. Chris, welcome to the Racecraft TV commentary box. First of all, I just got to say, what a race. You beat all of the cautions, and you end up locking yourself into round 2. How does it feel now that you don't have to worry about the 2 road races we have coming up? You can focus on the 3 we have coming up in the playoffs round 2.
Well, the joke of the series is I'm not an oval guy, but they really want to burn that sticker now.
Well, you clearly showed that you were an oval guy tonight, grabbing that win, and like I mentioned, locking yourself into the next round of the playoffs. How important was that to you coming into tonight, that you could kind of skirt your way past everybody and be good to go coming into the next round? That these next 2 races, you don't even need to finish. You don't even need to race. You'll still be locked in.
Well, that was also the emphasis because Memorial Day weekend, there's a lot planned, so there may be a chance I won't even be racing. So I put a lot of emphasis on this race to see if I can try to get it, and got it.
And heading into, obviously, you mentioned you were a road guy. You weren't really an oval guy. Obviously, you got it done tonight still. But the next race here, of course, in the Premier Series is a road race. When we go racing, GT3 cars at Daytona Road. Pro Mazdas at Canadian Tire. Open wheel on a tough racetrack. How confident are you there, even with your road racing chops, that you can walk away maybe 2 in a row?
Really depend. These guys are really, really tough. Both on oval and road. Doesn't matter what it is. These guys are really, really tough. Nick especially, and Carl. Those guys, I put the targets on their backs and try to go for. And I think I have a target on my back now.
Anybody else you would like to thank here on Racecraft TV?
Huge shout out to Dave Lohr. He gave me a new seat today, and way more comfy than the one I was using. Ryan McCauley for the paint, and then Carl's been super flexible with me as always. He puts on a really great league that I like running, and thank you for the broadcast.
And thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth tonight. That is Chris Hamilton, your race winner here from the virtual Five Flags Speedway. And Jordan, now with the end of this race, obviously it was a lot of cautions, but ultimately at the end of the night, still a great day for a lot of drivers as we now see a good picture of what we will have heading into the remainder of the playoffs, and working now on getting the points standings updated so we can show all of you before we go off the air here on Racecraft TV. But Jordan, heading into this next race, obviously these oval drivers, this was their opportunity to get that win and not have to worry about the 2 road races coming up, and then they get beat obviously by somebody who said we weren't really that great at oval racing. So now they really have to reset and think, okay, now they have 2 road races coming up and these drivers need to lock themselves in.
Well, definitely, but road courses, they can bring anything to the table, and because it's so much more different than an oval track. And so, like they've been saying, Hamilton isn't an oval guy, but clearly he is. So interested to see how he's going to take the next few road course tracks.
And with those open wheel cars that we'll be heading to at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, providing their own set of challenges. Last time we went road racing was at Long Beach, and those are in the old V8 supercars. Incredibly different than open wheel cars. So heading into the next round, these drivers are going to have to completely different practice, completely different everything to try and work their way into a win there. And looking at the wild card guys, obviously a good finish for a handful of them, but they just need to put together good races to lock themselves in, because only the top of the wild card make it into the 5th and final spot for the championship. It's not about wins there, it's about consistent finishes. And grabbing those points right now to show all of you here on Racecraft TV before we go off the air. Jordan, heading into the Pro Mazdas at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, who do you think is going to be the favorite heading into that race? There's a handful of drivers who are fairly good at road racing, even though they don't really like to say they're road racers. There's a handful of them that are pretty good and have an opportunity to grab the win. Who are you watching as we head into that race in 1 week's time?
I want to keep my eyes on Christopher Hamilton, as he seems really consistent with what he does. But, we talk about Nick Nickerson, the driver of the 2-car, a lot, and we can throw him in literally anything, and he is dominant in literally anything. So I want to keep my eyes on Nick Nickerson mainly, but I'm going to say the underdog in that race for me is going to be Christopher Hamilton.
And we now have your updated playoff points and wild card points as we get them up on your screen now, and we'll see exactly who is going to be sitting where as we begin the final 2 races of the playoffs here. All right, so there you can see gained and lost positions. Obviously, 8 lost for Brandon Mettler as he falls down into 12th, not starting this race. But Handwerk out in front in terms of points. Chris Hamilton, obviously, with the win, he is automatically locked in. So it doesn't matter now what he does in this round. He will be locked in. But Handwerk, Nickerson, Adam Jones, Kevin Foster, Paul Butler, Eric Andrews, and Mason Smith filling out the remaining 7 spots to make the top 8. Matt Crockett, Jimmy Covert, Mark Thomas, Brandon Mettler on the outside looking in with 2 races left. Now here's your wild card points. Currently holding that spot is David Castelli with a great 5th place finish tonight. Dan Heisey, Wesley Fuller, Derek Sherman, John Crane, Tim Thompson, Dave Lohr, Patrick Cooney, Terry Condas, and Bennett Allen, all currently in the running for the wild card spot. For Jordan Hicks, I'm Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for joining us for the first race of the playoffs for the Core Racing Premier Series. Make sure you join us every week here on Racecraft TV for more action in the Core Racing Premier Series, and join us tomorrow night for the first race of the playoffs for the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series. Congratulations to Chris Hamilton. We're saying good night from the virtual Five Flags.